That reminds me of the kid in middle school who stole the sink.
Excuse you?
I don't know.
Good segue.
The whole sink?
Yeah. Okay. So we had a I don't know how well built your schools are in Canada, but in middle school we had these.
I mean, they're
no.
finely built.
Yeah,
let me tell you.
This one was not as well constructed. This sink.
Right.
It was basically the I guess the sink bed. I don't know what to call it. Just the big square tub part that the water would go in, and it goes in like as the drain and stuff. It was so loose on the pipe, on the drain pipe, you could basically wiggle it around. Like it wasn't directly attached to the like the faucet. The faucet was just mounted above it. And so it was wiggling, you could wiggle it, and then people found out that you could lift that sink tub off. You just pop it up. I'm like, we thought it was funny. But then one day, everything got different because a teacher comes in and she goes, "Okay, kids, we're going out in the hallway." And at first we thought it might be like a fire drill or like an earthquake drill, because usually when it's go out in the hallway, it's you.
Earthquakes?
Yeah, we'd have those. Earthquakes,
really?
They'd either do under the desk, or sometimes we'd go to like a different room if the room did not have desks. Like,
man, I've never had one of those. Probably because I live in Blizzard Town.
We don't even get earthquakes here,
in Christmas
so
Town.
That made it strange. But anyway, so we're all out in the hallway, and the vice principal walks down. And he goes, "Okay, I'm going to ask once, who has the sink?" And some people are laughing. And he's like, "Quiet!" You know, like that adult teacher yelling voice, everyone like shits their pants. "Quiet!" He's like, "Oh fuck." He's like, "I'm not asking again. Who has the sink?" And everyone's fucking looking at each other like, "What?" And then the investigations begin. They start pulling kids into different rooms one by one to have interviews about the missing sink. And this one kid, one of my friends, Jonathan, he was he moved from Mexico in the 3rd grade. He kind of looked like the Fonz. He always had like this leather jacket and these curly black hair. Yeah.
Tunnel snakes rule.
He's sitting near me. And I'm like, and we're talking like, this is so weird. And I look at Jonathan, and he's fucking sweating.
Oh no.
And he's whispering, he's like, we gotta go home soon, man. We gotta go home soon, man.
Where the fuck? What?
Yeah. And we're like, Jonathan, like, what's going on? And he looks so fucking panicked.
Where's the sink, Jonathan?
Yeah. We're just like,
where's the sink?
And we're just like, did you do it? And he doesn't say anything. He just looks at us. And we fucking knew he has the sink somewhere.
Where the fuck did he put
I'm
the
just
sink?
imagining the sink under his shirt, and he's like, it wasn't me. We gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
I need to go home right now.
But they keep doing interviews. And then the vice principal's like, the longer this takes, the worse the punishment's gonna be. And then all of a sudden, he fucking cracks.
What?
He just covers his face, and we hear, "I stole the sink!" And the principal looks at him, he's like, "What? Where's the sink?" "It's in my locker. I have the sink."
What? How did he fit the fucking sink in his locker?
It wasn't a very deep sink. It was just like it was like a little rectangle. Like it was
planning
cheap.
to do with it?
Who the fuck knows? He thought it'd be funny. And so what happens is the janitor opens up his locker, pulls the sink bed out, and he walks into the bathroom. He doesn't fix it. He doesn't glue it back on. He just
puts it back on.
Yeah, he just throws it back on. And he didn't get in trouble. We just had to talk about, because he didn't know how the fuck to punish him. Like,
you
don't
had to
steal
talk about-
sinks.
Don't steal sinks.
Don't take the sink. Didn't even fix it. Just walks back in the bathroom, plops it back on the drain, and walks out.
Well, shit.
Don't steal the sink. That's what we learned that day.
Clearly on the syllabus, it says, "Do not steal the sink."
Yeah.
You should have learned that at the beginning of the year.
It was just a prank that went too far. Like, did he think he was going to get it home? How does he get on the bus?
He's like, he's at home in his bathroom, like, 2 sinks. Pretty sweet.
Now I can wash both hands at the same time.
making my closet to my bathroom one part at a time.
I usually try to check out of the room when service workers are doing stuff.
Dude,
I mean, there was that one time. Oh wait, no. I think you were recording something that was like a year or two ago, where I was telling someone what was happening when like service people came, but I like had to hide last second because I realized it would be too weird if they saw me at that point.
And you were in the closet?
Yeah, I remember that we were recording. Yeah. Wait, wait, so what happened? Were you just like?
Oh my god, I don't remember exactly. It was like
just hiding.
Some service workers came.
Yeah.
And because it's like an apartment, and I didn't even say like, oh, you need a knock to come in or whatever, or like the consent forms. Just, oh yeah, if I'm not here, it's like I'm out a lot, just come in and do whatever.
Just come in. Oh god.
So I heard them like fixing stuff, and I hear them like loudly making jokes. I'm like, oh fuck, they don't think I'm here because it's like I've slept in late.
Oh no.
It's dark.
Oh dude.
Like, what the fuck do I do? Like, okay, they don't know I'm here. Do I emerge from the bedroom after it's been like silent for 20 minutes? It's dark in here. And just be like, hey, what's up? And then I hear, I'm like, oh fuck, they'll need to change like one of the they're probably gonna check the water heater, which is in the like my bathroom.
Yeah.
And so, oh fuck it, you know what?
Oh.
I'll just stay out of their way. But where do I go? I'll just go into the closet and shut the door. They'll never know.
That's so much creepier. That's so fucking creepy.
They one of them knocked on the bedroom door. It was like maintenance, so like they did check just to make sure. Someone might have heard me when I was in there. I was convinced that they didn't think I was in there.
Oh, dude.
But they knocked and said maintenance, and they opened it and like, hello. I'm like, okay, the longer I delay this, the worse it'll be if like I have to confront them on it. So like I went in the closet and I fucking like threw a blanket over myself. Just like in the corner.
Oh god, dude.
Like, I heard the bedroom door like slowly open, and I heard him go like, I guess there's nobody in here. I heard them like fucking around in the bathroom.
Are they talking like fucking?
They're talking like fucking
Metal Gear NPC.
Yeah.
Must have been the wind.
Must have been the wind.
Well, because I thought like, oh, they probably didn't hear me.
Oh man,
I was like, I don't want to like have to talk to them, and then it's, oh shit, maybe they did hear me.
It's even.
And now they're wondering what that sound was.
It's so much weirder, dude. It's so much weirder that you decide he opened the door and instead of being like, yeah, well, hi, you were just like. I'll hide even.
It's because I'd freshly woken up too. Like I was not fucking thinking.
Oh my god.
Well,
I was just like, oh no, they can't see me.
That makes me feel much better because I was really embarrassed because the other day I screamed at a woman.
Oh, I had the Silent Hill 4 encounter on the train coming over.
Yeah.
What?
Bring your mic closer.
This.
Bring your mic closer, please.
Literally, just put it on your lips. Just put it on your lips.
Almost on your lips.
Almost on your lips. Right there, perfect.
So I was taking the CTA, which, if you don't know, is the Chicago Transit Authority. The trains here have very good locations, but not incredibly good cars themselves.
Oh, absolutely not.
The Blue Line had like a strange wood paneling one. Anyways, I was there with my girlfriend, and she was very nervous about taking public transit in Chicago.
Oh, was it her first time? Like, taking?
No, she's taken transit, just not in Chicago before.
Okay.
And she was validated about a minute in. When a man emerged from between one of the cars, and he was mumbling in some sort of like, it sounded like some sort of spell being cast on me.
Oh my god!
You were in sorcery now.
What was notable about him is that his ass was hanging out of his pants, and he was brandishing a tennis racket,
Like a
God.
weapon,
Yeah.
right?
Well-
and like whipping it through the air
Well,
violently.
kind of, but the thing is, it wasn't like you have beggars who come up and down the train sometimes.
Yeah.
He wasn't asking
Hate
for
those
anything.
people.
It just sounded like he was trying to show us his tennis racket. So he sat down next to her,
Oh,
and,
no.
he's waving at her, going, "It sounds like ranking of kings."
Can
He's
you,
just like with this.
Oh my god!
Hey, can you do that for like can you do that more accurately and like for a longer period of time, just real quick? This will be very useful for everybody.
He was
Add 20% off there.
well. He was
Take about 20% off there.
he was clearly tweaking on something.
Yeah.
And she's like, we need like she's looking at me and going like, we need to stand up. We need to go. I'm like, no. Like, I'm shaking my head no, because I'm like, if you get up, like, he might get excited or he might.
He might get excited.
If you acknowledge,
it's gonna be like Dragon's Dogma. The sight of women excites him.
yeah.
Mandy looks at his girlfriend like, no, they see with movement.
Well, the thing, later she's like, I was trying not to look him in the eyes or something. Yeah. But he got up and moved on. But another girl came up and sat next to us, and she's like, oh, I didn't want to be alone in my car. He came in ours too and started like sitting next to me and asking me about his tennis racket.
Oh my god.
So we're with this stranger. It was it was shockingly empty for the time we came, because it was like in the afternoon from the airport on like a weekend. And so it's
right
like
before the 4th as well.
The fact that cars were nearly empty was very strange. But just every once in a while, this guy would come back through the train waving his tennis racket around, telling us about something. And then he would just vanish off away. I put it in this note I've been keeping on my phone.
You didn't tell us about this.
I wrote this down?
No, I kept a notepad file called Chicago Moments.
Oh my god. You've had quite a few of those.
The first one.
David, that's not shocking. That's normal for him.
It's just the word gunshot.
Oh, I see that. No. Oh my god, there is so many.
Yeah, I have tweaker brandishing tennis racket with ass out on train. That was the first one.
See, I'm racist. That's a joke.
The second one came short. What was it?
That's the third one.
Hey,
Julian.
Side conversations.
Yeah.
I will start spanking.
No, it's okay. Thank you.
The second one listed was getting off the train, which was men bullying and arguing with pigeons while brandishing cigarettes.
We did see that.
Yeah.
Maybe, dude, we didn't see that, but that was like 3 hours later.
Yeah.
So maybe he was still like bullying those fucking pigeons.
He was loudly arguing. I'm just not sure what it was about.
Speaking of seeing things, how is LASIK, Mandy?
Oh yeah, I got LASIK a month ago.
Oh my god, it has been a month. Dude, it's been fucking...
The procedure itself was like quick. It was a very strange light show. At one point, it's in the back of your eyeballs when you can't see at all, which is hard to describe.
Like that. I don't like that. That's so weird.
Yeah, but what happened after was that you can like drive yourself back to your post-op, but for the day of, you're not driving afterwards because you need to go home and sleep.
Yeah.
So I had like a ride set up.
Can you open your eyes?
Oh yeah. Like on the ride home, it's better to close them for the light, and you have to wear like sunglasses outside a week.
Oh man, okay.
But it's come a long way. But it's like, for when you do this, like you need to set up a ride to take you back. But they're so pretty like COVID strong, like with just like procedures. They're like, if you have like someone to pick you up, like they can't even be in like the doctor's office in the lobby, because we don't want too many people in here. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna ask a friend to do it. I'll just get a ride set up. And so I get out, and it's hard to see my phone, and I just see this text that's like, "Oh, sorry, I'm gonna be about a half hour late."
Wait, from who?
From like a Uber driver, basically.
Oh, okay.
This like, it's like, hey, sorry, like, it's your ride's gonna be late. Okay. It was also very hard to see through it. It just, I realized my drive is late, and they put me on some drugs for it. Not a huge amount. They give you like lorazepam or something.
Oh yeah,
whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But I took it like. You're supposed to, I guess, do it for like 15 minutes before, because ideally you take the drugs, they do the operation, and then like an hour or so later it kicks in and you can like sleep.
Oh, okay.
When you get back. What happened in my case was I took the drugs. They were ready for me 2 minutes later, and it hadn't even been 15 minutes by the time I was
so
like
you were
done.
you were not even
No,
you weren't.
But I was starting to feel it.
Oh boy.
And so I'm like, well, I can't stay in the lobby. And this office is like kind of in the it's like the middle of the city.
Yeah.
Like if you're anywhere near like Charlotte, you've heard fucking radio ads for Dr. Moziani and LASIK. I didn't go there, by the way. But the office was by like this parking garage, and they gave me these sunglasses that like they're the wraparound ones.
Like fucking Jordy LaForge?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's sick. LeVar Burton. He voices Dragon Tales. I'm sorry. I'm a big LeVar Burton fan.
I thought LeVar Burton did the Reading Rainbow.
He does.
Yes.
He do.
And he's in Dragon Tales?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. He has had a long career in children's entertainment.
Yeah. Wide range.
Yeah, like Star Trek, man. Children entertainment. Anyway.
Yeah.
Wow. Why aren't I funny? Ooh.
He was in Smart House? Sorry.
So I wander out of the office, and there's a few other keys that are like clear I'm not well. One is that before they do the LASIK on you, they've gotten so efficient at it. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like lining up to get like your blood donation, but even faster. Like by the time I was done, there was like a person in the waiting seat waiting for me. It's like 7-minute person in and out at most.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh man.
So to keep track of everybody, they put like this name tag on you that's like, your name, and then you're like your birthday below it. So, but they put it on upside down because the doctor's going to be looking at you from like standing behind you, operating the machinery, and then you could look down at your tag. So I'm outside. I'm like, my ride's gonna be late. I can't go in here, but there's a parking garage nearby. Holy fuck, it's bright. I need to retreat into the darkness. So I'm like stumbling into this parking garage, and I see some like, my vision's super hazy after LASIK. So it's hard to describe. It's like when you're seeing a car windshield that's super fogged up.
Yeah.
It's like that by your eyeballs, but you realize you can see better, but it's much more foggy.
Okay.
Oh, man.
And I see there's some shapes like standing around somewhere inside the parking garage, and they're talking. But it's like an area where the cars aren't like going through. So there's probably like an elevator or something nearby, like to get up to higher levels. So I'm like, oh cool, I'll just go over there. And I don't even realize how bad I'm stumbling yet. I'm wearing sunglasses and stumbling into there. And I hear someone go, "Hey boss, you doing okay over there?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine."
They think you're off your tits.
Yeah, they're like, "You don't look fine, man." I'm like, "No, dude. I'm good. And I'm closer, and I see they're wearing orange vests, and I realize they're probably construction workers or something on break because they're building a lot of stuff in the area. Yeah. And they're probably also in the parking garage because it's hot as fuck right now.
I really wanted you to get catcalled.
No, because I'm walking up to them, and they're like, "You seem high as fuck, dude." I'm like, "No, I'm fine. I'm like, just, I had some work done." Like, "Oh, you like for that building?" Done. Yeah. And so like one of them says my name, I'm like, "Oh," I was like, "How the fuck do you know that? Like, it's on your name tag, but it's upside down, man." I'm like, "Oh, that's supposed to be that way." Everything I say sounds like a lie.
It sounds like you're a fucking escaped convict.
Well, yeah. And so I just have this upside down name tag, and I'm stumbling around in sunglasses in a parking garage. Oh my
fucking god! Oh my god! You were just in.
Yeah, but the thing is, I can't see them very well. Did you just
forget to take it off?
Oh no, I didn't take it off yet. I just left it there because I was like, "Fuck it."
Fuck it.
I was like, I don't see a trash can. I don't want to have to be holding this thing. And then I realized I started, because the medicine's kicking in pretty hard at this point, and I'm getting like drowsier, and I'm realizing, oh fuck, like, I don't know who these dudes are. I don't know where the fuck I am. High. And I can't tell them that I can't see. Because I can barely tell who they are. Because they're like talking like, oh, like where'd you get your stuff from and stuff. Like, like you.
Oh god! Whoa, they hit you with the help you carry your bags, sir.
Yeah.
Those. Yeah.
Oh my god, man!
Well, they're asking like, oh, like that's crazy. Like, do you know Tay? Like, did you buy from Tay? And so now I'm like, oh, they hang out.
You got the name of their suppliers, dude?
Yeah. So I'm standing there.
Oh my god!
I'm like, no, I'm okay. One's like, well, you got the sunglasses on. Let's see your eyes. Like, what? See your eyes.
To see if he's high. Weird, dude. That's
weird.
So fucking funny.
And guess how your eyes look after LASIK? Really fucking bloodshot.
Oh no.
Yeah, probably.
And so I go.
Dude, also, you must have such a fucking violent reaction if you take it off. Like, it's just like a fucking burst of light.
Well, it's not as bad as you would think it would be, because I could like look at my phone.
Is it not?
But I was in a parking garage. It was like unpleasant. But like, okay, and I put my sunglasses down. And like, whoa, look how toasted you are. They're like, dude, he looks fucked up. And they're all laughing.
Dude, you definitely picked up from Tay, bro.
No, you're right. I did see you, but you sent me a picture of how fucking red your eyes were. They were like bloodshot.
Yeah, because you're like, whoa, you look like so fucked up. And I was like, yeah, there's gonna be a story about that.
Speaking of dying, Mandy, how'd you die?
I mean, I didn't die, or maybe I did. I guess this requires a bit more context to get to the central.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll be real. If I lived half the wild shit that you've lived, and there's a point in time wherever I very well could have died, I would be questioning at this point.
This is not the closest I've gotten directly to dying, but this is like, this could have been very bad.
Okay.
So I don't know. I can't remember the exact year it was. This was over a decade ago now. The only time point I have for it was that the Elder Scrolls Oblivion was hot. Oblivion was out. So maybe like between 2006 and like 8?
Yeah.
That feels like right. That.
Yeah. So, and I know that because this was a scout camp. I don't remember which Boy Scout camp it was. I was in the Boy Scouts. We were at either Camp Bob Harden, or it was somewhere in either North Carolina or Virginia or somewhere in that little corner. And when you have a scout camp, you have like your troop that goes there. But then you have like troops from several different regions come and like they descend upon the same campsite for that week, so you can earn your merit badges.
Oh, gotcha.
And I actually looked this up because it's really funny, but I didn't want to dox them, but it's okay. The troop across from us was they were called Troop 501st. And the game Battlefront 2 had also come out like fairly recently, a few years before. And the fucking clone troopers in that were Troop 501st. And so we were like, oh, ha, 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 it's like the clone troopers are next to us. The thing is, they were actually the most serious fucking Boy Scout troop I've encountered in my entire life. And I guess something happened to them because I looked online about them because I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't say the troop number. But it got dissolved and it was reformed in like 2014 or something.
What?
Yeah, the 2014 one is like a new Troop 501st. So the first one either disbanded or something happened to it. I tried to look at their old website and it got like it's on like you can't even, it's like deleted. So it says like, oh, we're Troop 501. And I clicked on it and it's like this website's unavailable. And the new one is, oh, we're Troop 501st, like the Stars War.
Oh boy.
And so something happened.
501st.
Well, they're the new one, I guess, but no, they're not the original ones we encountered. And we knew they were so hard because we had like a canoeing race at one point, like day 2 or something, where we were like, it's a little canoeing race. We were just laughing around, like bumping each other. One, the kid had like dropped his paddle in like the first 10 seconds of the race, so we weren't doing too hot. So we dedicated our run to fucking up 501st like race. And so we kept bumping their boat and laughing. And like we're like making the bend to come back towards the finish line, probably like 7th place by now. And one of their scoutmasters fucking runs out from the reeds into the water, like up to his knees.
Whoa.
And he starts screaming at them, "You failed! You failed! You failed!"
Whoa.
And he throws his hat down. And he's screaming how they failed.
Whoa.
Like, whoa!
Whoa.
But back then, of course, looking back, it was whoa. But at the time, we all started laughing. Because they're like, ha ha ha, we owned 501st.
They failed. They failed.
Exactly. Because our troop was a fucking mess. Sometimes you'll have like sometimes like they'll do Boy Scouts through your school. There's all sorts of little linchpins that it comes through. Ours was from our church group, and it was a casserole of mental illness and just weird kids. And I'm including myself.
Mental illness.
I know.
The reason I remember.
Why am I getting deja vu from this?
The reason I remember it's Oblivion was because we had this one kid named Benny, and he would Oblivion had become his life. And when I say that, I mean like at night we would hear him screeching out in the woods, and he'd walk in by the campfire and just be like, "Hey, where were you at?" "I was making sacrifices to Shio Gorath."
Oh my god. Holy shit.
Holy shit.
The cat population in that area drastically went down.
Yeah, and we had 2 scoutmasters there. One was quiet psychopath. The other one was literally Ned Flanders from The Simpsons. Like he had like the mustache, he had the glasses. He was dead on Ned Flanders. And so he'd be saying things like, "All right, we're gonna talk about the Lord tonight." And Ben would be like, "You mean Lord Shiagorath?" Like, "No, Ben, we're not talking about him now." and so we took great pride in fucking up constantly, but still being able to style on 501st. Because they never like came to their campsite individually. They'd always come in like a unit. Like all 30 of them or whatever would all come in a straight line into their camp. You can never catch one of them alone. And so it'd be like, wow, Benny just beat them in the relay race. They must be real bad over there. But the central character of this is, I probably should use a different name. I'll call him Jimmy. Jimmy had always been quite slow. Like the kind where it's like, immediately like something's up with him by how he talks and just the glassy look in his eyes. Like he'd be like, "Hey, how you doing? I want to talk about Dragon Ball," or something like that.
Okay.
And around this, he was at this point one of the older scouts, and he was starting to go through puberty. And what happened with this is that he was always just like he was going through like a goth phase, which was also strange.
Jimmy the Goth.
Yeah, but he was like, he had some sort of condition, but he was also goth.
Okay,
which is a lot already. Now put that in like a scout uniform,
like me.
Yeah, so yeah, it was sort of real. Yeah, it was like a lot. But it started kind of harmlessly when like most of the warning signs were taken as him just being kind of a weirdo.
I really don't like how you're describing this.
Well, he'd be like in church or something, and he'd be like, "Hey, like I have the deepest secrets in my cursed journal," and it was like,
what?
I think it was like a Death Note journal or something like that.
Fuck?
And people be like, "Oh, haha, that's me." Be like, "Yeah, the secrets are so dark. They talk about the voices." I'm like, it's funny, Jimmy. And you go, like, you want to look at my journal? He talked about how scary the journal was, but he would show that thing to fucking like anybody.
He wanted to allure people with the how scary it might be.
What the fuck?
Yes, and so I of course looked in the journal one time, and it was like 1 billion dead stick figures, like people with devil horns, like shanking each other with like pitchforks. It's just like edgy stuff, but kind of like, from a slower lane.
Kids always do shit like that. Like it's whatever.
Oh yeah, but it was
I probably did that, you know.
Exactly. So it's what he was not the first like edgelord I had met. If anything, it was really fucking funny at the time because he'd just be like, "Oh, do you know about Super Saiyans?" I'm like, "No, I don't watch Dragon Ball really." He goes, "Well, I'm gonna reach Super Saiyan level 5,000." I'm like, "What?" And I remember that one specifically because we asked him like, "What's Super Saiyan level 5,000?" And he goes, "It gives you the power of the devil," and he would never elaborate on that.
Wait, does that mean the devil can beat Goku?
I don't know. He would just say that, like, it gives you the power of the devil. But he would tell us these stories about like the voices in his head and like these demons visiting him at night and stuff. And we thought they were fucking hilarious. So we started like, I was turning them into like City of Heroes quests. Like it's an MMO. You can make your own missions in it. Yeah, so I started making like quest lines based on the dreams he'd tell me about. He'd be like, "Jimmy needs to go into the sewers and like defeat this dragon and shit." But the thing is, during scout camp, he was getting different.
Oh.
Because when you go to scout camp, you don't have like a well, this one at least had like provided tents. I can't remember if we told the story about when we pushed Benny out in the lake once.
I don't think so.
Okay, well they're like a wooden kind of like pallet platform with like a tent on top of it, but it's a super thick and sturdy pallet. We had once taken the Oblivion kid and like lifted his tent while he was sleeping and like just pushed it out into the local pond, and it like floated. But anyways, so you pair up 2 scouts per tent, and I want to say slightly older than Jimmy. I was not too far away from an age. And I was like, I'll bunk with you, Jimmy. He's like, okay, because I kind of felt responsible for him in a weird way. I don't know how to put it, just because it's like I know people get weirded out by him, but it's like he's harmless.
Yeah.
So I thought.
Yeah.
God. Because like I had gone to a camp the year before and heard him like losing his mind during a thunderstorm and fright. So I'm like, he's fine. But when I first like went to bed and like, cause you put your sleeping bag on top of like these 2 cots in the tent, I'm like starting to drift off to sleep. And then I hear next to me, I'm like, I look over, like maybe he's dreaming, and he's not dreaming. His eyes are completely open and he's staring at the ceiling, just whispering to himself.
Oh my God.
Are the words illegible?
No, there was
Stop hearing your name.
Yeah, it was loud.
No, it was too
Metreon Synthos.
It was too quiet.
Mandalore Gaming,
Oh God.
The thing is, I start counting and I count 200 and he has not blinked yet.
Oh God.
He's just staring at the ceiling, whispering.
Oh my God.
So go, Jimmy, Jim, like, what are you talking about? And then he looks over at me and he goes, "I'm not here. I'm the demon."
Oh.
And I'm like,
Oh no.
and I'm like, and I go, oh, okay. And I just go off to sleep. And then the next day,
What? You fell asleep?
Dude, how are you?
of course I did.
Dude, that's him being like, the consequences of my actions don't matter. I'm the devil.
Yeah, I'm just like, no, I'm like,
Yeah, all right. Good night,
you have to
bro.
understand when he's clearly not correct. I didn't take much stake in it.
Right.
I went, whatever.
Oh
Hold
my
off.
fucking god!
You
And so
wake
we're
up
all,
and just everything's on fire.
You know, people are always like, oh, you guys are like, PSD is so superstitious, always talking about witches and shit. And then Mandy lives through stuff like this. It's like, of course we believe in
Mandy
witches.
met the main character of the darkness.
Dude, I'll be real. This kid,
Yeah, it's Jimmy from the darkness.
I've experienced kids like this, like in middle school,
I've-
especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
and they
not
like
this
and-
intense.
honestly, so far, I mean, I don't know if I'd love to be proven wrong, but I'd be intrigued to know if I'm proven wrong soon. But like, usually, the kids would just like act fucking weird to get attention.
Yeah.
It was like,
exactly.
Yeah,
That's
this
exactly what he's
sounds like a
doing.
kid desperately like trying to get attention by
Right.
appearing fucked up. You know.
Which is what we thought. 'Cause, like, I was
But-
a year or two older than him. He was maybe, I don't know, 14, 15-ish. He was in that range
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, I've seen this before.
Yeah, I mean, like, look,
Yeah.
I'm speaking from experience. I was bitches. That was me at the time too.
You were bitches. You were out there fucking talking Latin.
My quirk
Talking
was that I was
Latin,
just
using
I
your
just
shit for-
I tried to act like the biggest dumbass on possible so that I could get people to laugh, and it never worked. But like,
What changed?
I had a notebook that had a list of people that I wanted to kill in it when I was that age. So
Oh yeah, Miss
Yeah.
Murder. I remember you telling me about that.
yeah, mine is just lame. Y'all have at least funny ones.
stick
yeah, no,
figures
that's-
killing each
that-
other, list of bullies.
That's what this sounds like. I do not think this is supernatural.
Well, it goes.
Okay.
We wake up at Revelry.
Oh no.
You hear fucking Camp Revelry, which is like at 5:45 a.m. and they play this loud ass trumpet through loudspeakers throughout the entire camp. I wake up. Jimmy's missing. He's not next to me. And I come out, and one of the 501st guys is walking over with like 4 of his goons behind him because they always move in fucking groups. And he goes, whichever one of you did that, you're gonna be in fucking trouble, even trashing our campsite and all this stuff. Dude, like, and we're like, why do they care about picking up sticks? And it's like, oh right, it's fucking 501st. But they had this big, like, it looked like someone tried to make like a Blair Witch looking like totem in their campsite, but it wasn't correct. So, like, it looked like a pile of trash, but just had like weird leaves and shit impaled on it. And so of course I'm like, oh my god, Benny, I'm so tired of your Oblivion bullshit. And he goes, that is not one of the pyres I made to my god. What can you
Oh my god.
And so we're all pissed at him because we think he's the one doing it. Because he hasn't stopped talking about Oblivion. And so as this day is going on, we find weird little like totems and shit around. And he's saying stuff like, I didn't make that for Mayroon's Dagon. It wasn't me. But he'd also say like, that one over there is mine. And so
What the fuck? Dude, what is
I'll be
this
real. That
chuckle
lends
fuck?
him more
What
credence. You know, like I'd believe him after that. Like clearly,
well, the thing is,
he wants to tell you
that
which
was
ones
the
are his
problem.
work.
What we realized is that Jimmy was trying to make like weird devil totems for attention, but we kept thinking they were weird fucking Oblivion things that Benny was making because he had been making those already. And Jimmy was getting really irritated by this, but he wasn't telling us that he did it. So he'd say things like, I feel a dark energy coming from this one. It was not him. And I'm like, no, Jimmy, this is fucking him.
Oh my god.
And so we had 2 suspects. So the 501st was blaming another kid who we called the deodorizer, which was not even from our camp. We just encountered him sometimes. We call him the deodorizer because he was a very large child, and the first time we saw him, he wandered between both ours and the 501st campsite without a shirt, applied deodorant directly under his man boobs, and then burped loudly. so he would just kind of like wander around. If you tried to burp, if you tried to talk to him, he'd just burp at you and then go ha and laugh and walk off.
Okay.
See, that's who Benny summoned.
Yeah, I never heard a word from the fucking deodorizer that wasn't a burp.
I've never been in the fucking Boy Scouts, so this is like living vicariously through you, and I don't know, man. This is fucking insanity.
Boy Scouts is mainly really fucking boring, and then you have campouts where things just go fucking nuts. But anyway, so they're shifting blame between either Benny or the deodorizer. And as we're walking back to camp, I think for doing merit badge classes, oh my god, yeah, we had the same one, which I think was some sort of, it wasn't wilderness survival. I can't remember the merit badge, but I remember when you're going back, he goes, "Hey, you want to learn about the demon?" I'm like, okay. And he goes, "The demon is British and lives in a castle."
No, stop. Stop. You can't say that. You can't just say the demon is British.
No, that's how he opened it. I'm like, okay, what else? He goes, "He drives a nice Lamborghini."
Me when I talk about my dad.
He doesn't even.
Yeah, like he said the demon was in his head, but the demon was also like living in Britain.
Oh my god, dude! Do you remember? Okay, do you guys this really specific thing that was like really big in the art world and the fucking car world? Like when it was just like weird demons driving cars and their heads and eyes were like popping out.
I've never heard of this.
I feel like I know what you're talking about.
Like it was just like an artist that would just draw like these fucking weird creatures driving like sports cars. In my head, that's what I'm imagining it is.
Like the Rob Zombie, like the Dracula,
Rob Zombie,
like the
Rob
Super
Zombie,
Beasto. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
Exactly. That's like when you said the demon is British and he's driving a Lamborghini. That's exactly what I imagined.
Oh god!
My fucking god!
I'm sure whatever he came up was being influenced by some kind of media he was watching, possibly Guild Wars. He really liked Guild Wars.
Fucking god!
But yeah, so I get this huge rundown on the demon. In my head, I'm mentally taking notes because that's going to be like a fucking boss encounter in City of Heroes. I'm like, and I'm like, oh, like what's the demon's name? He goes, "The demon has a dark name." Like, what? Just tell me it. Demon. Okay.
Dude, he hadn't crafted that bit of his identity yet.
He hadn't built out that more yet.
You're not letting this guy finish his OC. You're just keep asking fucking questions.
He had this elaborate backstory prepared already, so I was like, oh, he surely has a name.
Name's hard, man.
As a DM, the name is always last.
Yeah.
Name's hard.
But so that night we're all just like kind of fucking around the campsite. We're just like cooking stuff in the fire. Quiet Psychopath Scoutmaster's somewhere else. I think Flanders is, I don't know where Flanders is. And I remember looking at Jimmy, and Jimmy's not talking to anybody. He's just staring really, really intently into the fire. And one of the other kids walks up and is like, "Hey Jimmy, did you see Benny's newest Oblivion idol?"
Oh my
god. And Jimmy looks up, he goes, "We will all burn like this fire." He goes like, "Okay, Jimmy," and just walks away. And then that night, I go to I go to sleep. Well, I'm trying to sleep, pardon me. And I'm in the cot, and I start hearing the whispering again, but this time it's more audible. And I'm starting to hear, "Kill, kill." And I look over at him, and this time he's messing with his pocket knife.
No.
He's looking at it.
Oh my god. Oh, okay.
No. It's like this. It's like a Gerber tool one. So he's like flipping it in and out. Has all these tools in it. He's going, "Kill, kill." I'm like, "Hey Jimmy, what's happening over there?" He's going, "The demon's getting stronger with every day. I might not be able to stop his powers by the time camp is over."
Oh my god.
And at this time, I'm more concerned because he has a knife, and now I'm like alone with him at fucking night. I'm like, okay, this is fucking weird. And I sleep very lightly. The next day, wake up, he's already gone. There's now what looks like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like someone trying to make a crop circle in the fucking dirt by just dragging their foot all over the place.
Oh, I did that shit.
Yeah. And so there's weird, like, symbol shit all over our campsite and halfway on 501st because their scoutmaster's already screaming at them to sweep it up, blaming it on them. So I don't even know what was drawn. And then come to find out, we all start getting on Benny again. And he goes, "It wasn't me. I sleep in my bare feet. It attracts the ducks." And we
what the fuck? Dude, what the fuck?
He had been stomping his feet in catfish bait to try and attract ducks. Catfish bait smells terrible, by the way.
But
Yeah.
what?
Does it smells like so awful?
Yeah, and so we see his fucking horrendous feet. And we're like, oh, but then we look at the marks on the ground. I'm like, oh, this is, you could kind of see like a shoe pattern in some of them. And so we pulled a fucking glass slipper with one of Benny's shoes, and we're like, oh, these feet are bigger than Benny's. And like I believe he has not worn shoes for the past few days. So who's fucking doing this? And then Jimmy's like, "It is a warning. The demon will awaken soon."
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
And it's like, oh, okay, this is fucking Jimmy's been doing this. What is it culminating in? And so, same story, walking back again that night. Like, so Jimmy, what's this demon thing? What's this going to be about? He goes, "I'll show you in the journal when we get back." And so he hands me the journal. I'm like, what? Well, what page is it? "It's on every page, the story." The story was mostly intelligible. Like, it was not legible. I couldn't tell what it was. I can make out the stabbings. There was the giant corpse pile, which had been there for like fucking months already. It was all the same shit. There were some new pages, and those were the alarming ones. Those are the ones showing stick figures like stabbed in their beds.
Oh.
And I was like, this is kind of weird. And he's like, "Don't worry, I have the demon contained. He is
Wasn't
too
he?
busy."
He literally said the demon was about to be uncontained.
Well, now it's contained. And I asked him why. And he goes, "Because the demon's a movie star and he has to film tonight."
What the fuck is going on?
Oh my
Dude,
God.
you gotta get your fucking
rocks.
story straight, buddy.
This is
Jimmy.
the weirdest OC I've ever heard of. Like,
Jimmy,
holy
Yeah,
like,
but then
oh,
that night-
man.
He's too
I
busy
hear-
filming American Beauty.
Dude, I would not want to.
Yeah,
I
but-
don't know if I could sleep with him after that shit.
This is where it changes, because that night I hear like,
Oh, no.
like the creaking sound of someone getting up, and I look. He's now sitting on the edge of his bed with his knife out, whispering to
No.
himself, and now he's staring at me.
No.
And I look over again, and I'm like, "Hey, Jimmy, what's going on tonight?" He's like, "I'm not sure, but I think it's getting stronger." I barely sleep that night. I do not sleep until he does.
Oh my god.
Thankfully, this is the Wednesday was like a parents' day or something, since like there would be younger scouts there, and that's when parents show up.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
what is
And so thankfully,
Worried.
his mom, pardon me, shows up. My dad shows up. A few of the other parents like show up. Because my dad fucking loves the scouts. He's just there to fucking fuck with people because he's a prankster. And I'm like, "Hey, Dad, there's something really fucking strange going on with Jimmy." And he's like, "Oh, Jimmy? Of course there's something strange going on with Jimmy. You know, he's not right." I'm like, "No, Dad. This is different." And so I'm like, there's something really weird about him. Like, he's talking to the devil and stuff, and he's like, "Oh, he's been doing that for months. You know, he's just trying to get attention because he's weird." I'm like, I know, but this is like different. And so I now realize the fucking predicament I'm in is that like he's being really, really fucking strange, but that's expected of him. That's just how he's been.
I mean, obviously, as a child, you don't like. It's harder to like rationalize what would get people's attention. But did you not think
Yeah.
to like mention the whole knife part?
See, I did. I was like, he's like messing with his pocket knife, and he's like, that was the one part where he's kind of like, that's a little weird. He's like, I'll talk to his mom about it. And so he talks to his mom, and his mom talks to him, and they have a little meeting with me, my dad and his mom.
Oh God!
And they're like, "Yeah, so it's like, what exactly has he been saying to you?" And I gave him the vague parts of the demon I could remember. And she's like, "Yeah, I'll be honest. When I was talking to him, he seems different than when he usually is at
Oh
home."
no.
Oh my god.
I'm like, yeah, that's strange.
No.
And then that night, in the campsite, one of the kids fucking screams, and we all run over, and he's like, someone pranked me, and there is a dead fucking copperhead snake on top of his
What the
on top of his sleeping bag.
That's not a prank.
Oh my god.
Not really. So we're just like,
Jesus.
what we found out later was that this had been in it turned out that Jimmy had not killed this animal himself. One of the merit badge class leaders had killed it and was just like showing it to people like in the class, like, look what I killed in this bucket. And Jimmy had then grabbed that snake and taken it with him, like from the class. So he didn't kill this animal by himself. We found this out later though. Because they're like, oh,
Dude,
but so at the time, it's
on the spot, you're just like,
yeah.
oh my god, this kid is just killing animals now.
I'm working my way up.
Oh god.
So we find this dead snake, and we're all looking at each other. The parents like, who did this? Blah, 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 blah. And then Jimmy goes, the time of the serpent is here. The demon's power will be awakened soon.
The time of the serpent. Oh
And so his mom tears his ass out yelling at him. But the thing is, he usually gets upset if you would yell at him. Instead, he has no fucking expression on his face.
Oh my.
And he's just staring her down. And she's like, you're going to be in so much trouble. And he goes, well, where my powers are at now, you can't really stop me.
Oh my god.
Dude,
It's worth mentioning that Jimmy's the kind of slow where he has the strength to go with it.
oh no.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
If his mom got physical with him, he would win. And so this became a situation where someone else's dad and her eventually had to drive him out of camp. But they tempted him with the promise of they were going to Wendy's, which worked wonders.
Oh. Demon hungers.
Yeah.
For a baconator.
Yeah, the demon was also a big fan of the Dave's Double, apparently. But when I got the details
Will I get
after
a milkshake?
he was not back the rest of camp, which had its own
Cameron,
fucking.
he will get a milkshake. No one could stop him from getting a milkshake.
It's a frosty, actually.
One thing about is Demon's Thirst. A milkshake from Wendy's.
This is a defining
Oh
moment.
They had read through his journal, and I had not seen the latest entry, which was the one where he was going to fucking stab me to death that night, and then go through tent by tent and do it.
Oh, Jesus.
Yo, god damn.
It turned out the reason for this was that I just happened to be the one who was closest because he was just going to go through he had it written down. He was just going to do it by proximity, basically. And I learned later after coming back and talking with my parents and stuff, since we just didn't see him again for camp.
Fucking god.
And my dad's like, yeah, so his mom was terrified driving him off because she said that he was just staring at her through the rear view mirror the entire drive.
What
And
the fuck?
So yeah, they took him to like a mental hospital or something, got him checked out. It turns out he was very deep into schizophrenia. He's schizophrenic.
Holy shit.
Jesus
Holy
Christ.
shit.
Oh my god.
Oh, he could have acted
That's
on it.
so
Oh,
scary.
fuck.
Yeah. Which is why I said that, he was going through puberty because like that kind of stuff doesn't, sometimes it won't manifest around that age.
Oh my
So,
god.
It's not a thing you think is like possible.
Yeah.
And again, this was diagnosing him with schizophrenia back then. Who knows what it would be now, but he had a bad kind of mental illness.
Holy shit.
But it had been developing
That's
long enough on its own because he was already just kind of weird and slow.
And everyone would discredit him anytime he tried to get attention.
Yeah. Because he's talking about like voices and like how the voices are talking to him, but like
that sounds
because of his slow brain interprets it as like, oh, I do hear voices, but it's a British millionaire who's a movie star.
Yeah,
follow up, but I did find some scout photos from that camp.
Oh my god.
But the problem is they're mostly from a Polaroid.
I mean, that's fine. We're probably
I'll post this just for the reaction. Do you want to see the kid who thought he was a
yes,
a priest of like oblivion?
Yes.
I only have one photo of him.
We're not gonna post any of these. Wow. Oh, dude, that's telling. Do you think he's still?
I was holding that camera, turned to the left, and screamed and flashed. That was in my tent.
That actually looks like a fucking Blair Witch. Like, what the fuck, man? Oh my god.
I was just like, it's so unreal.
Oh my god.
I really want to download that picture and turn the contrast like way down so you can barely see him.
If you do that, please send it to me. I'll make it my background.
I mean, that photo's like a while old now. Actually,
You know how
shit, there
it
was
is.
that time I worked for Walmart for a week, but then I found out about the drug ring.
Fuck, that's an episode. That sounds like an episode.
So you ended up working there for longer?
No, that was a brief thing. It's not my worst job story, but it's definitely my briefest job.
Oh yeah.
I was in school, desperate enough to try to work for Walmart to get some cash flow, and
man.
that went differently.
Props on getting a job at Walmart. Apparently, they're very selective. ? Yeah, like no, dude. I have
way.
heard that like
No
the
way.
amount of people who apply to Walmart versus the amount of people who get hired is like way higher than normal.
That must be new
fucking
then, because
way.
they had.
I mean,
when
yeah, but
I got
also
the job, they
Walmart-
said, by the
Okay.
way, 95% of our employees leave before they do their first 6 months. I
Yeah.
went, really?
Shouts
That's
out
not
the
good.
retail turnover.
Yeah,
I had to
be
do
real.
the fucking Walmart dance one time.
What's the Walmart?
I'm so
dance?
glad
I
I
knew
worked
it.
night shift.
I fucking dude. When I worked at that McDonald's, it was a McDonald's in a Walmart, and in the morning when I would
you
get,
saw the ritual.
I saw them do that weird fucking pact. It felt like a cult. It was so
Yeah.
weird, and I had no idea. I didn't know anything about it. So
I
it's
didn't
just
either
kind of
until
like-
I worked there. And
Yeah.
so I worked there for night shift, but when I was like getting oriented,
Oh, God,
I came
dude.
during the day. I'm like, okay, this is our team exercise. We do the Walmart dance.
Oh my.
And they have
Yeah,
you
no.
sing this fucking
Oh, man.
song, and everyone does this dance.
Oh.
It's made.
It was
It's basically made to
so
break your
weird.
spirit. I think
It was.
I did
so
it once.
Weird.
I was like, oh, this is to make you actually feel like human garbage and keep working here.
Oh, for sure. Like I was just, dude. I was going to my job where I would clean the scrape the shit off of like
Yeah.
the oil fryer, and I felt like more of a human than they did while they were doing their little fucking jig. I was like, oh man,
The ones who you see genuinely enjoying the jig are the ones who love Big Brother now. They're gone.
broken. They're
That is the
gone.
happiest time of their day.
Oh,
See,
God,
I
it's
say
so
I
awful.
would have enjoyed doing the dance.
It's very different. It's sad
not-
because you
like,
look around while doing the
talking
dance,
about
you can
it-
see the people who are like they're gone and they love the dance. And you see the people who are hanging in there for the paycheck.
Yeah,
There's no
dude,
in
it's-
between. I'm
it's,
sure.
It's horrendous. It's so bad. Oh,
It's like
man.
that was probably the. I mean, I have way better and worse retail stories from working in like a hardware place, but man, that week at Walmart was fucking insane. So Dimitri has always looked the fucking same since like kindergarten.
Yeah.
He's always been 6'4" all directions with a large beard. And so we had some friends over. My parents were out for a while. We're just like fucking around over the weekend. And one of them was like, hey, like, can these girls come over and stuff? And we're like, okay, sure. But what ended up happening was one of our other friends is like, oh man, dude, like his friends are weird. Like this is gonna be awful. We can't have them here. Like they're all terrible. And like they're like trying to warn me that it was gonna be a disaster. And that like it would be bad if they stayed. And so I trusted him over a friend who's like, they're going to come over. It's like, okay, Dimitri, how do we make them really fucking uncomfortable? And our house has like a window kind of like angled by the front door. So you could like, if you're walking up to it, you could like look in and there's like some couches and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we did while they're like watching TV and like fucking around and stuff, we put him in like the sofa chair facing the window. And we put this blanket over his lap. And it's like, okay.
Like fucking,
And
like the grandma
no.
from Resident Evil.
Yes, but this ties into something because the Boy Scout story returns because they're like, okay,
What?
Dimitri, do your Jimmy stare, and then he did this 1,000-yard distant face and then started smiling. His blanket draped over his lap.
Dude, no.
And we're like, that's fucking perfect.
Oh, dude.
And so when they were walking up, they looked so fucking uncomfortable.
Oh,
because he's just staring out the window and not at them. Because they came in and they're like, oh, like, what's his deal? And like other friends in the like main rooms, they didn't see what the fuck he was doing. Like, oh, don't mind him. He's just being fucking weird. And He's like,
oh my
he's so
God.
tall and strong. Like, he could be so fucking dangerous.
Oh man.
And he was just like, he wasn't rocking at all in this chair. He just has this blanket on his lap. Just sort of like,
it's the weird part. I don't know why, but the weird part to me is just the blanket on the lap. That's just such
the blanket on the lap is what makes me really uncomfortable.
Extra. That makes me so. It makes me uncomfortable.
Like if he's just sitting there, like, that's weird. But like, let's put a blanket on his lap to indicate there's something up.
Yeah. Like there's something, he's hiding something.
Yeah, that's such a good way to fucking hide like something bad.
I think it's just like a movie thing because you'd see like people and like they'll have blankets around them for some reason if they're kind of distant. Or it's like, oh, there's something under there.
Yeah, there's gonna be a big reveal, a big John Woo.
I don't know,
like,
man.
Towel throw.
Maybe it's just because old people are fucking weird and creepy and they do that shit. Like, oh, stop being cold, you frail little bitch.
This isn't even a story. It's a string of events that just led to. God, it was actually like a horror movie when it's like they meet someone, everything seems fine, and there's little things, and then it finally it builds up to it. I think I'm not gonna use his real name because he would be the kind of person who would listen to this podcast. What's a really fucking annoying kid name?
Sheen.
Nicholas.
Oh, okay.
Sheen.
I was gonna say
Oh,
Sheen.
Nicholas.
Sheen could be good too.
Sheen is pretty bad.
I'll do Sheen.
Dusty.
Dusty.
I like Dusty.
I'll do Dusty. Dusty's close. So we over like the how many years ago was this? I don't know, a few years ago. We over the summer we'd have like a weekly game night or D&D thing. We'd switch off depending on what people were in the mood for. And then one day there was a new person and there were, I want to say, about between 6 to 8 regulars, but like people would switch off enough that it was manageable for the DM. And then one week we had a new person and he's like, "Oh, I'm Dusty." We're like, "Oh, okay." Like Dusty seemed a little off, but he was like fine. He's like, "Oh, he seems a little awkward."
Okay.
Just because when we would if you ever like gone to these things, you know, like you're getting dinner, you know, you might get like takeout or something delivered, and everyone pitches in some money. The first bad sign was him just looking around. He's like, "I don't have money on me." We're like, "Oh, that's fine." Because our system was like, "Oh, if someone doesn't have money, you know, we'll cover you this time. Then next time you cover somebody else."
Oh, there was no next time.
Well, to this day, he still owes someone $20 who keeps talking about it.
Are you kidding me? He still talks about it?
Yeah, he's fucking vengeful.
Wow.
Like whenever
What an asshole.
Like there's a list of stuff he did, but whenever I mention him, he always goes, "And you still owes me $20." It's like,
let that go. $20, Christ.
But yeah, Bill was like, "Oh," but he's like, "Guys, I don't have any money," and we're just like, "Oh, it's fine." But he looked like really fucking serious when he said it. Like he said it like he was gonna have to kill somebody.
What?
And that's when I really looked at his eyes for the first time.
Oh my God.
If you ever seen like Tom Cruise in interviews, like in the 90s when he was really into Scientology.
A spark.
Yeah.
There's definitely a spark, and it's not a good one.
Kind of. It's like they're just kind of dead eyes. And I was like, oh. What? He's like, "I don't have any money." I was like, maybe he's joking. And that's when I first really looked at him. I'm like, oh, he's serious. He's not joking. He didn't say that in a really somber tone as a joke. Oh, it's fine. And then we're like, all right, we were playing, I think Munchkin or something, some kind of like some tabletop game. Like, all right, let's do some D&D. Like, we'll make our characters. What are you gonna be? It's like, I'm gonna be an elf. And she has 2 blades and a bow. Like, what class is that gonna be? And for some reason, he got really fucking angry about having to pick a class.
What?
So he's like, I could be a ranger, a warrior. And I don't know, he was getting really miffed about it. And it was just like, all right. And then he finally like picked one. He's like, all right. You know, we're all doing the languages and stuff. And the DM's, you know, giving the setting, like, you're in this dwarf. You're going to be starting this dwarven city. There's this and that around. He's like, oh, don't forget to pick your languages. He's instantly like Draconic and Infernal. It's like, of course.
Oh.
But when you played the game, he was like, he was fine. So I let everything else go. I was like, all right, it went okay. And this kind of thing went on for a few weeks. But when I realized there was something off was when he did it. We did it at his house for once. And we were playing, I think it's called Descent. It's a pretty fun board game. And his older sister and her fiance had come back to the house. And I don't know where they had, I think he was in the army or something. Like he had been off doing something important. I'll just say that. And so they come home and she's like, oh, hi, Dusty. And he goes like, oh, hi, what's her sister be? Kayla. Hi, Kayla. Check this out. And he grabs a card off the table and he runs up and he shows it to them. And he goes, this card allows you to put down 3 traps at once per game.
Oh my god.
He's really fucking excited about it.
Is he a fucking goblin?
And I will never forget the look on his sister's face when she goes, oh, that's really cool, Dusty.
Oh no.
And then I realized it's like, it's very clear they don't give a shit. But this entire game, one player is basically the evil dungeon master, and like they try to stop you when you're going through the dungeon. And he had been very quiet during this game. But then when like his family came, then he like grabs a card, runs up and starts bragging about like how he's going to get all of us. And it was just kind of strange.
Yeah.
And then, but then after that happened during the rest of the game, he got really, really sadistic. Like he was laughing like a supervillain after everything he did and like rubbing his hands together. And then like he picked up his cat and was like petting it in his lap, and the cat was like trying to get out of his lap. He'd pull it back. We're like, oh, this is getting weird. But then, then we left. And I saw his friends like, I asked one of my friends, I was like, do you know where Dusty came from? He's like, I think he was like, he's Bill's friend, I think. I was like, oh, all right. So I guess to go to the same school, that makes sense. And then like he would DM because he didn't want to be class railroaded again. But then he was a very railroading person, and apparently he had written this huge thing of lore for us to explore. But instead, we wanted to form a restaurant inside one of the cities and started seriously preparing for it. We're like, oh no, we need to get fryers. Like, all right, I'll get some gold. And he slams his fist on the table. A dragon attacks the city. It's burning everything to the ground. Roll. And then the city ended up burning down. And then he's like, now the adventure begins. And this one fucking hero just goes, man, this campaign's shitty. I think other boys should DM next time. And he looked really unhappy. And the next time we saw him to DM, he sat like in this chair slumped down, and he had the dead eyes again. And we're like, Dusty, what's wrong? He's like, I'm sorry, I'm really fucking tired from work today. And then one of the other people, Bill, he's like, Dusty, didn't you work like 3 hours today? He's like, yeah, I worked from 9 to noon, but work is just really, it's hard. Dusty worked at a call center. And so he's sitting there, and then we realized it's because other guys said that his campaign was shitty, and now he's mad about it. So after he half-heartedly went through it, we're like, we'll have someone else DM. And this was the beginning of the end. Because I don't know how he can... At the time, I didn't know how he convinced him of it, but looking back, it was, he just wanted to appease him, to get him away from him. He had a custom class that was basically Tony Stark. He was like, I have a powerful suit of cursed dwarven armor or something like that. And he's like, but that's a drawback. Whenever I take actions, it generates heat tokens. And then I have to take a single turn to vent heat. And so I'll be like, no, we get on our mount. And he's just like, activate my super speed. It's like, okay. I roll a strength check to lift up the rock. I roll using heat, which allows me to add +10 strength. And then we're just like,
Oh my fucking.
and we're looking at the
way.
DM, and he looks at me, and his eyes, he looks so fucking helpless. And I understand he's trapped with this shit.
This is.
And then finally, in the middle of a fight, I don't remember what happened, but I just remember the sentence, I crushed its head in my hands. And then, and then Bill goes, hey, Dusty, I think your class is a little overpowered. And he goes, no, it's not. And I'm like, yeah, Dusty, it is. He goes, you think it's overpowered? He stands up, he grabs a wine bottle off the table, and he goes, all right, I'm going to go outside for a while. And then he takes the bottle, opens the front door, and just shuts it. And we're like, oh, what the fuck do we do?
I was anti-Dusty up until that point. That rules.
No, it doesn't. Because
so you just stole wine? You just walked outside to drink.
Well, because we know we sat there for a few minutes. Move. No, it's not, and I'll tell you why. He's like, what do we do? Oh, okay. I know, let's just play the game. And so we played the game without him. And we had a great time. We played in 4 hours, kept playing. God, it must have been nearly 5 a.m. We were having so much fun. We're just like, we're not working tomorrow. Like, this is great. Like, okay, it's getting late. We need to go before the sun rises. We open the porch, turn the light.
He was still
He's fucking on the porch, laying there with the dead eyes. And he just looks up at us. He hadn't touched the wine bottle.
Alright. Man, fuck Dusty.
Fuck Dusty, dude.
Yeah, forget Dusty.
And so we're just laying there looking up at us, and we're like, you're still here? Like, we thought you went home. He's like, no, I just came outside to think about my class a little bit more. Like, Dusty, it's been like 4 or 5 hours.
Think about my class?
Yeah.
He needed some time.
We're like, it's been 4 hours. And he's like, and he looks up, he's like, well, I didn't know how long it had been. I sometimes lose track of time when I start thinking as critically and as deeply as I do. Like, okay, Dusty, like, I'll see you later, good luck at Target Dusty. Tomorrow. So, and then a week later, it was one of the sessions he didn't show up. We had most of the regular crew there. And we're like, Dusty's class is fucking bullshit. Who allowed it? The DM's like, well, I wasn't going to have to deal with his shit. Like, so I tried to tolerate it, but he won more and more stuff, and I don't want him like this. And then he's like, it's all Bill's fault anyways. He's like, what are you talking about? I don't know Dusty. Dusty came with Kevin. Then Kevin's like, what do you mean? I thought he was your friend. And then everyone's talking like, what the fuck? And then we all go silent. We realize no one fucking knew how he got there.
He was just like,
everyone just kind of, there were like 4 people who kind of knew him from school. And we figured out eventually that like he was talking with 3 of them, and they were going to like their car or something. And I guess they all had assumed that he was with one of the other people, so they didn't bring it up, and then they just let him go with them.
Wow.
So it was just like, oh, there's 3 people, and it's like, oh, it's like a car, it could fit all 4 of us. Like, oh, we're going there. Like, cool, it's gotta be great. And it's like, oh, if one of my friends came with somebody and like we're going somewhere, I wouldn't be like, oh, who the fuck is that? Nobody would question it. Yeah. It's just like, what? Oh, yeah, someone knows him. That's
crazy, though. That's fucking crazy. Did he like mastermind this?
I don't know. Because I asked the DM about if he knew him at all. He was like, well, the first time I saw him, he was wearing a fedora and a coat from the 18th century with a bunch of big buttons on it. He walked up to me at school and asked me about dragons. And so I answered, of course. And I was like, God damn it.
That's nutty, dude. That's so nutty.
And so we figured out that it's like, oh, why the fuck would he do that? Like, he didn't even know they were going for D&D. Apparently, they were going to they were going to like some youth group. Not even a youth group. It was some kind of non-D&D function that he just attached himself to. And so I'm scratching my head and I'm like, how the fuck did this happen?
How does this happen? That's crazy.
Have you considered that Dusty is an angel in disguise?
Well,
oh my God.
We asked like the kid we blame, like Kevin, how could you do this to us? He's like, I don't know. Like, we have to ask him some stuff. Like, what's his phone number? He's like, I don't know. Like, what the fuck? What do you know? I know his Steam name. Fine. And so I type his Steam name into Google. So I'm thinking the first link will be to a Steam, like his Steam link. And no.
Oh no.
The first link is a forum that said, my town looking for a master, willing slave. I'm like, what the fuck is that? It's so, of course I click on it, and it's a large, it's some kind of forum.
My fucking god.
And the picture is quite clearly him. Except he has a fedora on, but he was dressed differently than we usually see him.
Oh yeah.
And he had he was like, I'm looking for something good. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, here's some things I want you to do. I want you to cover a wooden spoon in Colgate toothpaste and shove it up my ass.
Oh, what the
what the fuck?
I can't forget that specifically.
That's
because he wanted a wooden spoon with Colgate toothpaste. Very specifically.
That is some next level shit.
That is a fucking. That is such a precise fetish.
You'd have to jerk off. You'd have to jerk off over 2 million times before that becomes attractive to you.
Yeah, and it was
probably over 10 million times.
The thing was, like, all his preferences were not like related. It was like a dartboard. He's like, I want the toothpaste, a spoon, but you know, I'm also really into diapers. I want to wear a diaper. And he's like, also, you can whip me, but if you do, you got to make me mac and cheese after. Just like this really weird, really specific shit.
Why?
All right, you can't fault the man for wanting mac and cheese.
You can't fault anybody for mac and cheese.
But he's like, if you don't make me mac and cheese after the whipping, like, it's not going to work.
Over, dude.
It was very specific. And so
I can't get over the Colgate, dude.
Yeah,
I can't get over that.
Well, that's what the diaper is for. Like, it loosens you up. You need the diaper after.
I look, and there's like 2 or 3 more links below it. And it's like similar, like, ads. Like, he's going on every local forum, and it's like, it's not like secret. It's like his internet
very
name,
much
I guess.
Public.
It's him. It's his face, and like all of them. And so we're just like, what the fuck do we do about this now? It's like, you know, you can know someone who has a really, really fucking weird fetish.
But it's like, you know, if they can't go to him and be like, what is this?
Oh, well, we didn't think. We didn't think clearly about that.
Oh no.
Because we're like, it's like, okay, you know, we're just tired of him at this point. We're like, what do we do? And so we sat on it for a week, and then it turned out that he had been starting to shit talk the people who didn't approve of his Tony Stark class.
Oh.
And we're like, okay, now he's trying to divide and conquer. Like, we have to get rid of him now. And so we said, hey, you know, Dusty, we tried to find your Steam name the other night, and we found some of your ads. We're not sure we could be really comfortable with someone like that. And so we're like messaging him on Steam, and it looks like a fucking crisis center in the White House, because we're all like gathered around this computer, like, what do we say next? Like, I don't know. And he's like, wow, I knew you guys could be kind of shitty, but I didn't think that you couldn't be open-minded. Dude, I was like, look at each other, like, what does he mean that he thought we'd be open-minded?
No, I mean, that is shitty, but you could have still just kicked him out.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Because we didn't want to just like ghost him. We're like, we need to tell him like why this is fucking weird. We're like, hey, you know, you're talking shit about people after everything that's been going on, and we found all this, and it's weirding people out. But then we steadily realized that might have been his end game, and we didn't know what to feel about it.
What?
Because we're like,
that's his
because when people were like,
oh my God.
We're like, Dusty, like, stop it, like, fuck it, like, cut it out, fucking Dusty, like, I can't take this. It's like, oh God, was he getting off on that?
Mm-hmm.
Like when he was on the porch for like 5 hours, like he didn't have his phone, the wine wasn't touched. What was he doing on that porch for all those hours after everyone shamed him?
He was thinking about brushing his teeth, dude.
Oh fuck.
That's like a good psychological thriller.
Yeah, but
the mind of Dusty.
It's like if it was someone I'd known for a long time, but like a weird thing like that, it would have been like, okay. But this was moments after finding out that no one knew who he was, and they had just infiltrated us.
Exactly.
It's like so many weird things.
Because it's like,
all
okay,
at once.
who is he? Like, no one knows who he is, and now we have
too much
very
information.
blatant, like, whip me and give me the mac and cheese. And it's like very, very shamelessly, very publicly, but we all missed it. And to this day, I don't think any of us have run into him again. I don't know where anyone would.
Let's reconnect. Let's get him on the podcast.
Let's get him on the podcast.
I know that he ran into him once.
Dusty? Can we help Dusty find somebody to shove a Colgate?
He had takers, but he
had takers. Excuse me.
We saw some responses, but they were like, I'll message you my picture.
Oh.
And it was like a guy with like a fucking AC/DC logo and 53-year-old man. Like, okay. Good luck. Maybe that's what he wants.
Yikes.
But yeah, no one saw him again except for a brief encounter where he tried to attach himself again through 2 other people, but then the third person was someone who was aware. He was like, wow. Oh yeah, like Dusty tried to get back because I was meeting 2 friends and Dusty was with one of them, and he just said hi and talked to me like nothing happened.
Wow.
It's like, yeah, you wouldn't. I never really thought about that. That yeah, if you were slightly acquaintanced with somebody, you could probably sneak your way into a friend group like that. Because who's gonna bring it up? Like, who the fuck is that? He can't come.
I'm actually speechless. That's amazing.
That's a great story.
Yeah. He just came, and then a few months later he was gone. It was just like that one summer.
Like the wind.
He appeared and he was gone.
He came, he saw, he didn't come.
God, I hope not.
Hopefully not.
God, I hope not. But yeah, that's one of the worst that guys we've had.
Top
two at
one?
least.
What?
That's for another day.